Real Gaming coming at y'all with another video, and I'm going to do a deck profile today. I have gotten some feedback from the channel, and I've had some people ask me to do like real card deck profile videos, so that's what I'm going to try to do today, is just trying to go slowly through. I have so many Union Arena decks, and today I am going to do a Todo deck profile. This is going to be my Todo deck. I love this deck a lot. This is definitely, you know, one of my favorite decks from Jujutsu Kaisen. I love the Boogie Woogie. He's one of my favorite characters. Please give me feedback on these videos. If you guys know of a way that y'all prefer me do these videos, I'm always open up to suggestions. I'm really trying to grow the channel and give you guys what you want. But this will be my deck profile. I've already sorted out the cards, but let's go through it. These are the 3 action points I like to use for this deck. I usually try to match mine up. I know a lot of people, you know, like to mix theirs up and stuff, but I like mine to usually match. But going into the 0 drops here, we are going to run 4 of the Maki Zenins. This card is really good because you get to choose up to 1 other character on your field and give it 1,000 BP, which is really strong. This card you're going to play a lot from either your hand or from one of the character effects later in your deck, but she is a really good card. It is unfortunate that she does not have a trigger in her life here, but regardless, it's a Kyoto Jujutsu High card, so you need to run it at a 4 of. I'm going to work on this a little bit. Like I said, my first time doing one like this. Definitely, it is a Todo deck, so we are running 4 Todos. He is a must in the deck. This is a get trigger in hand, which is really good because you can, if you see this in your life, you don't have to worry about drawing a card. You can just get it to your hand. He is 1500 BP, and he is one of your 0 energy plays. And I only have 1 foil of him. Hopefully I can try to get some more. But I love the art on this card too. Really cool art. Love the foiling. Super nice. Have to run 4 of these Todos for sure because we are running Raid Todos, of course. It is a Todo deck. To round out the 0 drops, I'm only running 2 of the Gaku Ganjis. I do think that he is a, you know, really good card, but there's just not a lot of room in this deck. You want to run a lot of different cards, and he is a 2K 0 drop. We're just trying to find a 0 drop that we can run out. I do want to find room to make, you know, room for 4 of him because he does have active trigger in life, which is really good to have on a 0 drop character like this. Maybe if I built the deck a little bit more lower to the ground, I'd bump him up to a 4 of, but he is 2K. A lot of times, he's going to be one of the ones you're bringing up to, you know, put some early pressure on your opponent and then also block out. But only 2 of him. That will be all of our 0 drops you can see here. Just running a nice package of 10. We do have a lot of ways to, you know, play cards out from our hand and from our sideline, so only doing the 10 is not bad. But if you feel like you need to, you know, jump the he's the president, right, of the JJK, I think, something like that. He's a really cool guy, but if you want to jump him up to 4, you definitely can. But I love to make room for 3 of the Takadas. Definitely Besto Gorlo. Todo loves his Takadas. Everybody likes Takada. She's really cute, really cool. I run her at a 3 of. I think 4 is a lot because when you play her, you have to bounce back 1 other character on your field with 1 or less required energy in your hand. If you cannot, return this character to the hand. If you run her at a 4 of, you're going to have a hard time, you know, keeping characters on your board because when you play her, you have to bounce something else back. So 4 would be a lot, but I do like her at a 3 of because she helps you boost one of your Todos later on in the game when you get to him. So just 3 of her there. Not probably going to have a lot of room to spread all the cards out on here, but trying to do the best I can. Only 3 of the Utahime. I did used to run this Utahime at a 4 of, but I do feel like a lot of times I felt like I was just searching too much in the deck, and I really wanted to add some room for some other cards that could help us with our double energy generation. since I went down the Takadas, but I do feel good with this lineup of the Utahime Iori being, just at a 3 of. This is a searcher for the deck. It'll cost you 1 energy and 1 action point. She does generate you energy. It is a draw trigger in life, and she just says when played, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Kyoto Jujutsu High, a card among them, and add it to your hand. Place the remaining at the bottom of the deck. In any order, if you added a card from your hand, place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. That is the unfortunate part of this card, is that she does make you add 1 card if you search something to the sideline. So only a 3 of her is not bad, but good for consistency, and it is a nice draw trigger in life. Something that I had to bump up in this deck because I felt like, the Todo takes 5 energy, right? And I do think that in this deck he should only cost 4 because you want to be lower to the ground in this deck, but for some reason he costs 5. Whatever. I get it. He's a cool card. He is strong, but I don't think he should cost 5. He should only cost 4. And since that's the instance, I do have to run 3 more double energy generators. And this is just Ultimate Mekabaru. He just cost 2 energy to play, 1 action point. He does give you energy, but when he is active, he will generate 2 energy. So you're almost never moving him up unless you're in a pinch and need a 2,500 body on the board. But this card is really good. I think that with him being, a 5 energy, if you don't run some of this Ultimate Mekamaru, you will be struggling to, get the double energy going to get to the 5. One of the best cards in the deck, and very unfortunate that she does not have a trigger, is this miwa. We are running 3 of this miwa. She is when played, draw a card. Only going to cost you 2 energy, 1 action point, and then, she is 2,000 BP. Really good card. You're going to hard play her from your hand a lot. You're not really going to put her on the energy line too much because you'll just hard play her out on your front line, get the when played effect to draw a card. Now you got a free blocker to come out, and you do have ways to get her back from your sideline and play her out, or there are characters in the deck that let you play her straight from your hand. So this is going to be one of your consistency cards that you want to keep recycling this miwa to get plays on the board. That is all of our 2 costs and 1 cost. You see here, we're just running a nice even split. 3 of the Takada, 3 of the Utahime, 3 of the Mekamaru, and 3 of the Miwa. I think in this deck, you are toolboxing a lot of purple stuff, so you're not running a ton of 4 ofs in any of these. You just want to see 1 or 2 of each of those cards throughout a game. One card I have found room for in this deck is this Noritoshi Kamo. Noritoshi Kamo. His name is hard to say. I liked him in the show. He's really cool. It is unfortunate that he doesn't have a trigger, and I upped him in this deck, and I took out 2 of the big Miwa. Spoilers, I'm only running 2 of that big one. She is double energy action points to play, but I made room for this guy because he's 3,000 BP. He generates you 1 energy, and he only costs you 3 to play, 1 action point, and he's 3,000 BP. But the cool thing about this card, he's really a 4,000 body because he says when attacking, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line. It loses 1,000 BP until the end of the turn, which is really, really strong because if you're ever going against green decks that are at 5k, you have issue getting over them once your Todo is not rated anymore. And it's just really good putting pressure on your opponent. And you can clear off little bodies with this character too because unlike other cards that say your opponent has to have something with 1,500 or more, he just says you pick one when you swing, and then now that character has a -1,000, so you can pick off little bodies with him. I do wish there was room for me to put, more than just 2 of him in the deck, but I think that he is really strong, but not having a trigger and, only giving you the 1 energy. It is a really good card you want to see, and there is a lot of search and draw in this deck, so you are going to see him pretty often, I promise that. 2 of is okay at him. I know it's a Todo deck, but this is the best card in the deck. I think this deck card wasn't out, this deck would not be playable, but this is Momo Nishimiya. She is the most important card. You do want to see her in every game that you play. She is 3 energy, 1 action point to play. She's 2,500 BP, 1 energy generation. So a lot of times you're just going to be playing her out, but she has an amazing effect that says when played, play up to 1 character with 2 or less required energy, 1 AP cost, and Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity from your hand set to resting on your field. So you have your energy set up. Hopefully on turn 3, you got 3 energy. You play the Momo, and then hopefully you have, the Miwa in your hand. You play her out, set to resting, so you get to draw a card. But if you're having to play any of these other characters here, you're not feeling too bad about it because you're playing the Takeda for free to bounce something back. The Utahime will search you something, and if you want to set your energy up, you play out the Mekamaru onto your backline, and then he will give you the double energy later. Obviously, you could play some of your 0 drops with this as well, but you really get a ton of value by playing one of these 2 drops or less here. And then definitely the Miwa is the one you want to play because you want to draw a lot of cards in this deck, and you want to play the Miwa out. Momo is definitely the most important card in the entire deck. If you can start your hand off with her in your hand, you are going to be setting up yourself for good plays because she's only 3 energy, and a lot of times you're going to play her out because you think of her as your bridge to get to Todo. You play her out, play out another body. If you don't have bodies out, fix your energy line or get value. She really is the best card in the deck. 4 of mandatory. She doesn't have a trigger, and I don't know why they do this to a lot of the decks that aren't the mainline decks. She should have a draw or a get trigger. There's so many other busted cards in the game. I don't know why they did this deck so dirty with all these characters not having triggers in them, but I think maybe they thought if they, gave you free cards to your hand that maybe the deck would be too fast and consistent. I don't see that, though, because Ashford Academy has a ton of triggers in its deck, and it kind of plays similar, but not really. This deck is definitely not as aggressive as that because it has a bigger top end with the Todos, but unfortunate that she does not have any triggers. In the life, that is to say. Going on to the besto boyo, Todo himself. This is going to be your 3 energy, 1 action point, 3,500 plus BP, so we know that means he's getting a boost. He does give you 1 energy generation. This is your color trigger in the deck as well. The color trigger on him says play 1 purple character with 2 or less required energy and 1 AP cost from your sideline set to active. So you see here you don't mind, having those characters in your trash, be blocking early with some of your little bodies because then the Todo lets you, bring them back from your sideline if he's hit in your life. If Takeda is on your field, which is Best Girl Takeda down here, he gains 500 BP, so he will be, in most cases, a 3 energy drop, 5,000 BP, and you really want to sit at 3 energy a lot in this game so that way you're not wasting too much and you're able to put pressure on your opponent with these cards. And once you find the big Todo, then you can kind of switch your gameplay to, get to the 5 energy generation to bring out the big Todo. But this Todo right here is really, really awesome because he gets better. Activate main, place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. Once per turn, this character gains damage 2. This Todo is super strong. Him and the Momo are definitely the 2 most important cards in the deck. This deck plays a lot lower to the ground than you would originally think since the Todo is 5 energy and such a big body, but you're really winning a lot of the games with the value that you get from the Momo and this Todo here. Being able to put a lot of pressure on your opponent early. I promise you, if you play around these 2 characters the most, you will have a good time playing the game. That is all of our 3 energy generators, 2 of the Kamo here, 3 or 4 of the Momo, and 4 of the Todo. Like I said, this package right here is the core of the deck. You want to see these cards, the most important cards in the deck, and you can win games alone just with these characters. If you push and pressure your opponent early, it forces them to have to block the Todo early in the 4K, and you're getting rid of some of their bodies and hopefully able to put them out of the game before they can kind of crack back on you. Something that may be, very divisive here for my deck is I have gone down to 2 of this Miwa. I do love this card. I do think that she's really, really good. I just think that the 2 action points it costs to play her is tough. And I do think that since you're forced to block with her, you don't get to pick who you want to reduce the BP of, which makes her really hard to play. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. She costs 4 energy, 2 action points to play. She is a double attacker, which is really, really cool. So you can, a lot of times maybe you just want to play her in the back line if it's early enough and then move her up so you can get some early swings in. That's what I find myself doing with her a lot. But you really want to get her on play effect, which says when played, choose up to 1 character on an opponent's front line. It loses 1,000 BP for each other Kyoto Jujutsu High School affinity card on the same line as this character until the end of the turn. So a lot of times you can just play her on the back line. If your back line's full, you can just pop one of their 3,000 or less BP bodies on the board. Because she does not count herself, which is unfortunate, and why I think this card is a little nerfed, is she should count herself, because a lot of other decks play cards just like this, and I'm thinking about the, Hashiras. The Hashiras literally have a card just like this, pretty much the same set line, and it's 4,000 BP. You play the Love Hashira, she counts herself and all the other ones against the Papa body, but unfortunately this Miwa does not get to do the same. But she does have a when blocking, choose one attacking character on your opponent's field. It loses 1,000 BP for each other Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity card on the same line as this character until the end of the turn. So she is really good, really versatile. You only ever want to see one or two of her. If you're ever in a situation when you're having to play multiple of her out, you've probably already gotten to an instance in the game where you're not in an advantageous spot to win the game or be playing her out anyways. I do think that 2 of the Miwa is good because she is a get trigger, so you will see her whether she's in your life in your deck, and you can search this card out with the Utahime searcher in the deck. Still, though, a really good, cool, strong card for the deck that you want to see. And then going into the main big bad boy himself, I love Todo so much. He's one of my favorite characters, and I love this alt art. I'm kind of picky when I build my decks. I don't like all my cards to be alt arts. I kind of like to have like 2 alt arts and then 2, regular arts in the decks. That way I can kind of appreciate the alt arts. But let's get into the Todo here, because he is definitely the star of the show, even though I said that these 8 cards back here are the main part of the deck. This Todo is going to be the way how you disrupt your opponent's plays and then, force them to, have to figure out how they want to play the game once you bring him down. He does cost 5 energy and 1 action point, so the 5 energy is steep in this deck. But I guess it is fair enough because he is pretty strong. He has 4,000 plus BP and he generates you 1 energy. The 1 energy, never put him down there. You're going to play him up and do some work because this card has damage too. Just always. So I get that's why maybe they gave him the 5 energy. But he does always have the damage too, as long as you're rated on top of him. And then he says, when played, this character gains 2,000 BP until the end of the turn. You may choose one character on both your opponent's front line and energy line and swap them. Important thing to know about this card is that if they don't have a character on their energy line, you actually can't force the character on front to go to the back line. You have to pick one on each line because that's the way the card is worded and says. So you pick one on each line and you swap them out so they don't ever lose, a character. You just, messing with their plays. You just do that to get rid of, someone that's pesky in the way that might have nullified impact or just a crazy big blocker, just silly things like that. But he will be, 6,000 BP. I just wish he kept it till the end of your opponent's turn. Because there's other decks that do that same thing. They keep it till the end of your opponent's turn. But unfortunately, he does not. It's only for that turn. He gets his 6,000 BP. But they're going to have to block this guy. Because they're not going to want to give you the damage to. You're going to swing in with this dude and then, hopefully get the 2 damage or they block it out. He is really, really strong. I love Todo. Brusha. Now, I am running a lot more. You can see this is all the character cards that we run. I am running a lot more events than maybe other people do. I guess just to make it, a little bit easier, let's go into the cards that you guys all know about. I definitely run for the Boogie Woogie. This is going to be your special trigger in life. A really cool thing about this card is that it only costs 3 energy and it's a kill spell, which is interesting, right? It makes it where this deck, you want to push this deck to play early around the 3 to 4 energy range, and you only try to start thinking about this Todo once you get him in your hand, and then you're like, okay, maybe now I start doing Todo. But if you don't ever want to go into this Todo, you can always still just play the low to the ground plays, and then this Boogie Woogie is perfect for that because it only costs 3 energy. But let's get into it. Awesome art here on this card. Seeing him with the Hanami Boogie Woogie when we get to see it debuted in the show. Choose one character with 5,000 or less BP on your opponent's front line and place it on the bottom of their deck. Your opponent plays up to 1 character card with 3 or less required energy from their hand set to resting onto their front line. When played, affects abilities on character. Abilities played with this ability do not activate. If Todo's on your field, you draw a card. So it's not an outright kill spell because they get to play something, but in certain spots of the game, they may not have something with 3 energy in their hand. 3 or less energy. If you play this later in the game, they might be stuck on some, 4, 5, 6, 7 drops that they have. So they may not be able to play anything out. But you do just instantly get rid of 5,000 or less on your opponent's front line and put it on the bottom of their deck. And then if Todo's out, you get to draw a card. So it's just replacing itself here. So I can see why it's not just a straight kill spell. But this card is really, really good. I love this card. And the good thing about this card, too, is that it doesn't sideline cards. So anything that says when this would be sideline or when this would be whatever, Boogie Woogie gets around a lot of that stuff because you just place it at the bottom of the deck. You're not blowing it up. You're not doing anything crazy like that. So it is a really powerful spell for the deck. I love the Boogie Woogie. You have to run this at a 4 of if you're running a Todo deck. And then obviously just running for the domain expansions. This is just your get an extra AP card in the deck. And your final triggers. I think every deck needs to be running 4 of those. All right, going into the spice of the deck, we are running 2 non-existent memories and 2 goodwill events. I did have these both at 3 of, and I was seeing them too much in the game. I think what I switched out was I upped the Mechamaru up to 3. I added the Komos here, and then I took away 2 of the Miwas and something else. But because these I was seeing these too much, but you do want to see these cards. So 3 is good. If you want to run 3 of these, you can. Okay, but it only costs 2 energy, right? Choose up to 1 Todo, choose up to 1 AoE Todo and up to 1 other character other than AoE Todo on your field. They each gain 1,000 BP till the end of the turn. If you chose 2 cards with this ability, give the chosen Todo impact 1 plus 1 for the turn. Really, really good. You get to boost characters by 1,000, and if you pick Todo, you get to give Todo impact. So you can see early in the game here with this 3 energy Todo, if you have him out and 1 other character, maybe the combo down here, now you have, a 5,000 Todo, a 4,000 Como, you're able to minus something 1,000. You're going to get impact on this Todo, and this Todo is going to have damage too. So this is going to be a key play. I'll probably miss not having 3 of this, but I do think that I needed to add the Komos and another double energy generator because as much as I said you can just play the game early, you do want to not have to miss out on that 5 energy Todo a lot of times. But I do run 2 of this, and it is an active trigger. I do wish that this card was a get trigger. But you can't complain about getting an active trigger in your deck, right? Like, active triggers are so strong, but if this was a get trigger, I would be a lot happy about, only playing 2. Once I play a ton, maybe I'll miss it enough to where I'll put it back up to 3. But I do love non-existent memories. And then we are running 2 of the Goodwill event. Like I said, I did used to run this at 3, but I feel like I needed a little bit higher character count. This card is really good too. 3 energy, 1 action point. Like I said, you can stay at 3 energy in this deck for a very long time until you see the Miwas or Todos, and then you change your game plan to switch around doing that. Other than that, you're trying to rush your opponent down. And this card helps you do it because Goodwill event, it is a draw trigger in life, which once again, I wish this one was a get trigger, but whatever. Add up to 1 character card with Kyoto Jujutsu High affinity from your sideline to your hand. So everything in this deck, all the characters are that affinity. You don't have to worry about messing with that. And you add 1 of these cards to your hand that you're missing. And then play up to 1 character card with fulfilled required energy, 1 AP cost, and that trait from your hand set to resting onto your field or perform raid with it. So a lot of times you can use this Goodwill event to either get your Todos back and then be able to perform raid with it for free because this card, you pay this for 1. You get to add any card from your sideline to your hand, and then also you play 1 that's 1 action point or less from your hand to the field. This card is really, really good. This card is amazing. Say you've only ever seen like the 1 Todo in the game and you need to get it back. This card lets you get him back to your hand and then raid with him if you need to. If not, you can use it to play the Utahime to search, or if you just needed to draw some cards, play the Miwa. Definitely one of the better cards in the deck. Hopefully maybe I could try to find a way to put it back up to 3, both these cards, but I do like this list so far. I know this is kind of messy. I would definitely leave a better picture of this deck at the end of the video. I'll leave a link to this deck profile in the descriptions. Please try this deck out. And I promise you, you'll have a lot of fun with it. Todo has a lot of good ways to out opponents' boards and like kind of mess with what they're doing, and it does give a lot of pressure to you early. And this damage too, and having the impact, it's a lot to put pressure on your opponent. It's a really fun deck. I do think that maybe if we could ever get like a miwa raid or something to switch this one out for, make the deck a little bit better. But I'm really happy about this deck. It is definitely one of my favorite decks to play, and it's definitely one of my favorite characters in Jujutsu Kai. I love him a lot. He is super cool. But leave in the comments down below what y'all think about this video. Leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.